Hi. Today, I'm going to be discussing about portable NIV devices and oxygenation. So this, I'm going to do it in two parts. First is the problem of using these devices, and the second part will be on the solution which we can do to solve this problem I'm going to talk about. Now, this is actually these small devices which we use in domestic environment for sleep apnea or sleep disorder patients. It has been increasingly seen being used in the COVID-19 pandemic period. And then donors are trying to donate these devices, and they are clueless as what to donate. And there are problems of receiving and also some people find it difficult to select which device to use in COVID-19 patients. So what are actually these devices and how do they function? And what are their intended purposes? These are the things which actually we have to look into to find out what the problem is. And then how do they compare with the ICU devices, the actual non-invasive devices? And what are the issues which we need to be concerned? Now, I would say most of these small BiPAP devices or the NIV devices, they are incapable of providing a very high concentration of oxygen. In general, in most of the time, it's incapable. And you can give a certain concentration, but it's not designed to deliver a very high concentration of oxygen. And so what are the alternatives we can do to overcome these problems? So these are the things what I'm going to discuss. First of all, the devices circulating during this pandemic period in our country. Now, if you look at this list, the first few, these are the kind of devices which I'm going to talk about because they are not that effective in giving very high concentration of oxygen. Of course, what I'm going to talk about is giving 100% oxygen to a patient. Now, these devices can give 100% oxygen, but I would rather recommend if you don't have an ICU ventilator or proper ventilator, to use these three devices for the moment. These are the kind of, I'm actually selecting from the available devices in our country. I might have missed certain devices, but basically I'm concentrating on these devices, the top ones, to figure out how these devices work and why they are ineffective. Now, first of all, we'll see actually how this device function. Now, to prove my point, I'm briefly going to show you how these devices add oxygen to the inspired stream. Now, this is actually the rear side of the one of these portable NIV device. This is actually a ResMed device. So all these devices share the same common thing what I'm going to talk about. So this is not particularly regarding the ResMed devices. All the portable devices, they have a connection, certain holes to entrain air, and some of the devices will contain an oxygen inlet. Not all devices. Some devices they don't have an oxygen inlet in the device. Now, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in a ResMed device. I'm taking this as an example because this is the commonest device. So you can see there is an air filter and big area to entrain air, and there is a small port to connect oxygen into the device. So basically, the machine is functioning using the room air to generate these CPAP, BiPAP pressures. So this is where the air filter is. This is where the inlet, so you get a large inlet to entrain air. Basically, these devices actually function using room air. So if you look inside, you can see there is the big part, bulk of the device actually occupied by a blower, which actually blows air into the patient's this is where where we connect the single limb and which connect to the patient. So this is where the air filter is. So you get air entrained into the blower, and blower will use a motor to generate pressurized air to generate whatever the pressure you have set. So this is basically designed to work on room air, and oxygen is an optional thing. This is how these devices function at domestic environment. So basically for sleep disordered patients and for COPD patients, if you really need oxygen, so there is an optional thing. So you can add a little bit of oxygen to enrich. This is not designed to give high concentration of oxygen. Just to, I mean, these devices can handle certain liters of oxygen, but the device is not designed to give 100% oxygen. That is my point. Okay. So we'll have a look at what is inside these portable NIV devices. So I told you there is a big blower inside this device. So this is a blower, and what this blower does, we'll say, for example, we want to deliver an EPAP of 5 and IPAP of 15, we'll say. Now to generate this pressure of 15 from 5, it has to increase the pressure from 5 to 15 within a fraction of a second. Now, how can the machine do this? So it actually, the blower uses a lot of room air. This is room air into the blower, and it will pressurize this limb. So this is actually where the patient is connected to the NIV mask. So this is where the blower will compress this end, generating this pressure of 15. Now to generate a pressure of 15 from 5, you need a lot of flow to maintain that pressure, to generate that pressure, and to maintain, you need a lot of flow. Now that flow is actually taken from room air. So these devices are quite capable of maintaining even higher pressures, entering a lot of room air. Couple of oxygen added to the system cannot actually maintain this pressure. So you need a lot of air. The device is basically designed to use room air to pressurize. So you have a pressure sensor over here, and the flow sensor will sense what amount of flow coming in. So the blower can decide how much flow, and blower can very efficiently generate that pressure, achieve that pressure within a fraction of a second. Now, so that is what the intended purpose of these portable devices, to be used at the domestic environment in sleep disordered patients, to generate these pressures when the patient is generating, say, breathing at different flow requirement. So the machine is capable of delivering just that. So it's quite capable, quite good devices for that purpose. Now, provision of oxygen is actually an optional thing with these portable devices. This is not designed to provide 100% oxygen, because there is always entrainment of air into the blower when you try to generate these pressures. The higher the pressure requirement, or if you increase the IPAP, there is higher flow needed. Or if the patient is breathing fast or breathing, taking deep breaths, then of course the flow requirement goes even higher. So it is very important to understand. So these devices cannot provide 100% oxygen, and if you try to do that, you will need a lot of oxygen, but still it's difficult to provide 100% oxygen. You can increase oxygen concentration, but it's difficult to provide 100% oxygen. It's quite important to understand when you are using these devices. Now, when you add oxygen, so there is a certain port, you can add probably about 15 liters. In most of the devices, certain devices can add 30 liters. Even if you add 30, even 40, the room air entrainment is kind of inevitable. When the blower works, it's designed to get room air to pressurize this limb. So that is the biggest issue in many using these devices when you want to give oxygen. Now that is why it's quite important to use an oxygen sensor connected to this devices. Most of the time people don't use this oxygen sensor. Maybe it's expensive to purchase, but it's quite important if you want to use these devices in type 1 respiratory failure, you must have this oxygen sensor. But for domestic environment, for people who do not need oxygen, you don't need this sensor. But if you want to manage COVID-19 patients or hypoxic patients, type 1 respiratory failure, it's kind of important. I'll show you practically what happens to the FiO2 when patients try to breathe at the end of this presentation. So it's quite important to attach this oxygen sensor to the device. So these devices are basically designed for sleep disordered patients, COPD patients, neuromuscular disorders, basically in domestic environment without using oxygen. Now, in the minority of applications, you might use low flow oxygen. Generally, you use an oxygen concentrator, which can add about a couple of liters or maybe up to 5-6 liters maximum. And then a certain patient, when they don't have concentrators, they can use oxygen cylinders, but this is not designed to run 15 liters, 30 liters. It's not practical in the domestic environment. So these devices, although they are capable of handling higher oxygen flows, they are not designed to deliver high oxygen concentration. That's my point. Okay, when you add oxygen into these devices, so you use something like this to add oxygen using a tube in, but there are various places where you can add this oxygen. Generally, this is added into the ventilator like this. So you connect oxygen like this. So this is not the most practical way of adding, but that is what the most of the devices recommend. There are other ways we'll discuss in the second part of this video. So this is how the oxygen is added into the. So the problem with this attachment is actually now it affects triggering. Now flow is quite important to trigger the patient to trigger the device when the patient is breathing in and out. But when you add oxygen outside the device into the tubing, oxygen, the device has got no understanding how much flow you are adding. So the triggering gets affected and the volume delivery becomes inaccurate and the alarms go, I mean, it's kind of crazy sometimes. It might start alarming because of the different flows. The device may not understand what is happening properly. And certain devices, when you add oxygen, especially, you have to be careful. You must add dry oxygen when you add into the tubing. Sometimes this, if you add the humidified oxygen, like when it goes through the water containers, so it might add water vapor and it might even damage the device. So it's quite important, especially when you add oxygen to the device end. And if you add oxygen to the face mask, it should be less than 4 liters. Otherwise, the triggering and everything becomes erroneous. Now, so we'll see some of the devices available in the market. This is probably one of the commonest device we use in our system. So this can actually handle an low pressure oxygen, generally 15 liters, but it can handle up to 30. But this handling doesn't mean this is designed to give 30 liters of oxygen to get high oxygen concentration. Even with 30 liters, you cannot achieve 100% oxygen. Remember, I'll just show you at the end of the presentation how efficient it is. And this is the other device, the ResMed Astral. And this also can handle about 30 liters per minute oxygen. So you have a low flow oxygen attachment. Now this is actually Loomis 150. There is no dedicated port in the device, so you can attach a certain piece like I showed you before. You attach that piece and then add about 15 liters through a separate port. This is actually far inferior compared to the Stella device in giving oxygen because there is no dedicated oxygen port on the device. So this is how it is attached. So you can attach this device and this piece of segment and attach that port, connect oxygen into that port. Okay, now there are certain devices which has got no dedicated port, like I showed you the Loomis, and there are certain, like this device also BMC Y30T. There is no dedicated port to give oxygen, and so it cannot deliver a known concentration of oxygen safely, and certainly it cannot deliver high concentration. Although they have marketed it like a therapeutic product for COVID-19, I don't know how ethical it is to market like that when you can't even connect oxygen to the device. Okay, that's out of the question. Now, this is another device which I have seen in the circulating in the country. So this is a Lowenstein Prismavent series. These devices actually, like all the other devices, they are used in the sleep disordered patients and the COPD and things like that. Not designed for type 1 respiratory failure needing high oxygen concentration. So this can even handle 30 liters per minute oxygen. But handling doesn't mean it is designed for that purpose. Now, this is another device which I have some of the VPs have told me this is one of the devices they are used in their wards. So once again, there is no dedicated port to give oxygen, and therefore you cannot give a known FiO2 or known concentration reliably. And so if you want to give oxygen, so this actually advocate, I mean, they say to add the Philips respironic pressure valve, because the water in the system, if you add the oxygen, can actually damage the device. So they use a valve to protect the device. So this is another device, once again, cannot give a known FiO2 reliably because there is no dedicated port to give oxygen. So these are very capable devices. They are not useless, they are quite useful devices in their applications, in domestic application of sleep disorders, COPD. They are perfect devices for those. Like for example, ResMed, I have tried it on myself. It's quite comfortable. The only thing, it is not designed to give high concentration of oxygen. Sometimes when you apply these devices, the saturation might go up. That is not simply due to increase FiO2. FiO2 is a problem in these devices, but these devices can add some pressures, maybe increase the functional respiratory capacity, maybe recruit certain alveoli. So in that way, it will improve. But don't think it is providing high oxygen concentration. So I'm not saying these are useless, but you have to be careful. If you want to give high oxygen concentration, these are not the devices. For example, anything above 60-70% oxygen. So these are not the, you can, but you have to use a lot of oxygen, but certainly not 100%. You can't get 100% with these portable devices. So I'm going to demonstrate. This is me trying to use the NIV devices. So here I'm using the ResMed, the mask. I'm actually having a good seal with no leaks. So I'm trying to connect to a ResMed device with say 50. First, I'm going to show you what happens with 15 liters per minute oxygen. I'm going to increase the flow to 15. You can actually increase more than 15. You can go to this flood level where you might get a little bit more oxygen than 15 liters, but I'll try initially with 15. We'll see what I'm getting. So I'm having this oxygen sensor attached, so I can monitor the oxygen concentration. So you can see I'm having no leaks and I'm breathing very okay, but my FiO2 is hanging around 37, 38, maybe up to 40%. If that all depends on the tidal volume, how fast I am breathing. So I slow down, I might get a higher concentration, but if I try to breathe, so the ventilator will recruit more air to get that pressure. So I'm using a very low pressure. Say you can see IPAP of 8 and CPAP of EPAP of 5. So it's only very, very low amount of pressure the machine has to generate. Still, it is giving very low FiO2. For example, if I set it to 15, then I will have a much lower FiO2 because there will be more air entering into the system. Now, so for example, so we'll see what happens if I try to breathe fast. So I'm going to simulate here a dyspneic patient who tries to breathe faster and taking a deeper tidal volume. So we'll see what happened to the FiO2. So I'm going to try, this is my normal breathing. So I'll try to breathe faster. So to see, so here I'm breathing faster. I don't know whether you can see, I'm trying to breathe faster and try to generate a larger tidal volume of 1000 ml. Now again, you can see it actually dropped from 40 to 34. So larger the tidal volume, or the faster you breathe, you get lower and lower FiO2 because it is entraining. Yeah. So if I increase, it's a flood the system. So I'm getting more than 15 liters now. So we'll see what happens from 35 to. So you might get a. So here you can see it's 44 now. It's actually getting a little bit more FiO2 with. So if you use this, you use it to the flood level, so that you can get give more and more. But I usually recommend to use a 30 liter per minute flow meter. So here actually I'm using the 70 liter one, but generally you should not use 70 liters because it can damage the device. I tried actually up to 70 in my device, but here I'm demonstrating only the up to 30-40 liters to see what happens. So first of all, we'll see what happens with 30 liters. So generally, as I told you, because it entrains room air, so it cannot deliver high concentration of oxygen. Here I'm getting about 55% oxygen. Now, if I increase, so the flow to maybe 40, I might get a slightly more. So I'm just trying to simulate the flooding in a 30-liter one. So I'm getting more oxygen. So it goes up to about 60, 65 with these press. But if so the tidal volume is now about 700. If I slow down, if I get lower tidal volumes, then your FiO2 might go up because the blower does not need to add more and more room air. The faster you breathe, the other thing is if I add more IPAP, higher pressures you need, this FiO2 is going to dilute using the room air. So this is the biggest issue in managing patients with these portable devices, but you have no idea because you are not monitoring the oxygen level most of the time with the oxygen sensor. So just because you are adding 30 liters doesn't mean you are getting very high oxygen concentration, but with 30 liters, I mean, with 15 liters of oxygen, you should get much better FiO2 with a non-rebreather mask other than, but these devices are useful to recruit more lung, to have a better functional vessel capacity, have a better lung volumes to open up some of these alveoli. So they are useful, but my point is these are not designed to give very high concentration of oxygen. So if the problem is your oxygen concentration, so these are probably should be avoided when you need more than 60-70% oxygen. So that is the point I want to tell you. So what are the alternatives we can use? How can we improve the same existing devices and what are the better, less expensive options to provide higher oxygen concentrations with non-invasive ventilation? So I'm going to discuss that one in the next video. So till that time, so see you in the upcoming video, and please keep subscribed to the channel so that you can get my next video on your YouTube homepage. Thank you.